Inner wounds are like cracks in a foundation, okay? And when the foundation has cracks, what happens? Can you repair them and the house stands? In the natural, does time repair cracks in our foundations? And the answer is no. Intentionally, people have to go into the foundation if it's possible and repair it. Otherwise, time exposes and time increases the cracks. So when we are young and we are wounded, what happens is you come from childhood stage to adolescence, to young adult, to adult, and with time, if those wounds are not taken care of, the cracks become wider and wider and wider. So what should happen in between to arrest them? And many of us have grown in such a place where our parents themselves have their own wounds. And they don't know how to deal with them in a sense. So when we talk about dealing with wounds, you find that a child 0 to 10 going through their normal experiences, many times they're experiencing that for the very first time in their lives. Okay? A child is breastfeeding the very first time. They have never been there before. They were born into this world and they're screaming and they're saying, I've never been here before. Where is this place? I was comfortable somewhere else. Why am I here? Okay? And a child goes through that also in terms of the first time they're being taken to Sunday school. This is the first experience. The first time they're going to school is the first experience. So basically what we are saying, most of the experience is for the very first time. I have not been here before. So both the joyful and the painful experiences form the core beliefs for a child. A child who grows up where there is truth, where there is security, where there is peace, where there is joy, their core belief is this world is full of joy, is full of truth, and there are things which this child might not know, like there are people out there who don't speak the truth. There are people out there who will lie to you or who will hurt others. They can't understand that. On the other hand, when a child grows up with lies, with betrayals, with pain, with many of these other things, they always look at people with suspicion. Why? Because pain has happened to me. Pain has happened to me before. So the core beliefs form the basis for that child to interpret life. And they will use that all the way through. The ones who have never been hurt or who did not experience dysfunctionality always have trust. So they go through life, this can happen to one person, but no, really, this is not how life is. You know, people are generally good. Another one will come and say, people are generally not to be trusted. So it's the two, okay? So basically, we are living in a fallen world. We cannot avoid getting hurt. Hurt will be handed down to us, but how we handle it? We can handle it incorrectly or in a right way, okay? How did Jesus handle pain? Let's go to 1 Peter 2, 21 to 25.
To this you are called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps. He committed no sin, and no deceit was found in his mouth. When they hurled their insults at him, he did not retaliate. When he suffered, he made no threats. Instead, he entrusted himself to him who judges justly. He himself bore our sins in his body on the tree, so that we might die to sins and live for righteousness.
Yes.
By whose wounds you have been healed. For you are like sheep going astray, but now you have returned to the shepherd and overseer of your souls.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Pam. Okay. So there's the right way to handle suffering and pain, And all of us, as believers, we are following in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. So what was the difference between how I suffer and how Christ suffered? And we see here, he was leaving us an example for us to follow in his steps. He did not commit any sin. There was no deceit in his mouth. While he was being reviled, he did not revile in return. And while he was suffering, he did not utter any threats, which is the normal, you know. How did Christ do it? And it talks about he kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. He kept entrusting himself. So how will you and I reach that point when we are suffering? It doesn't matter where it's coming from. To keep entrusting ourselves to the one who judges righteously. That way, we do not react to people. We respond to the one who judges righteously. That's the bottom line. That's where we are going when we are dealing with pain. So when you look at this little one, this little child, what do you notice about this child? Just from the picture.
A desperate situation.
A desperate situation. Why do you think it's desperate? He doesn't look like he has food. What else? He's alone. Yes, he's alone. And how about the environment? It looks like it's a dry place. There's not even a leaf or not even a blade of grass. And what are they doing? They are seated and they are waiting. Most likely, something in their body is talking. What is talking in their body? They're hungry. Okay? They are hungry, maybe they are hot as well, but you can see that it's not, maybe it's a very poor situation where the child is surrounded by poverty. But this child, now this is what we need to remember, from 0 to 10, around that age, children do not have a voice, number one. Number two, 0 to 10, children go with the now. I feel, and they're feeling hungry. I see, I've got a plate here, it's empty. I hear nobody loving, nobody's voice which can help me is here. I am all alone, okay? That's a child, this particular child. But what do we also notice about ourselves when we are 0 to 10? Or notice about our own children when they are 0 to 10? It's that they act in the now. So when a nice, loving parent tells a child, okay, I will give you up to lunchtime, you play, but after lunch, you will sit down and do your homework, or something like that. What have they had? Play. Homework somewhere. So when they are playing, they are feeling good, they are seeing their friends, they are hearing nice voices chirping all around them. They do not remember the homework. Why? Because they are concrete thinkers. They are not reasoning, saying, at the end of the day, if I would not have done the homework, look at me, I will stay the rest of the evening doing homework. They don't remember because they respond to the now. So this gives us a good glance into the children world, and we are not expecting them. But many times we think, could you think? No. They think now. They think now. The rope is coming, I'm jumping. That's what all they're thinking about. It is fun. It is nice to be outside, okay? So in the childhood stage, these children are having fun. When you're told, enjoy the moment, children enjoy the moment. That child previous was not having fun. He was waiting and waiting for the provider to come, maybe the mom, maybe the dad, so that they can steal the pain in their tummies, okay? But these ones seem to be having fun. Maybe they were playing and they're told, I'm taking a picture, they're enjoying it. How many times you as a parent, do you come into your home and you're seeing that pair of shoes, why is it here? Who was responsible for this? And the child is coming with open hands like this, wanting to get a big hug because they're enjoying, they're so happy to see you. But you're entering and you're saying, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do this. You didn't enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment of embracing them because you're happy to see them. Before you say, why are you not having your shoes on? Why are you running with your socks outside? Before you do that, just remember it is this child whom I love deeply. So it's because they enjoy the moment. So in childhood, I'll mention briefly, abandonment, trauma, and control. These are the things which wound the child. Okay? When we're talking abandonment, when a parent is not present, when there's a single parent, they are widowed, and things have happened, it's a state of war, one parent is living in a less traumatizing environment. So the singleness does not necessarily have to do with anything sinful. But so long as one parent is separated from a child, they go through abandonment. Okay? Busy parents, Nairobi, busy parents, leave early in the morning, come back late, come with your laptop, and you're just waiting to finish putting the kids to bed, doing homework so that you can. They just know my mom loves her laptop, that's what she smiles. When she sits and she puts her legs up, that's where she likes to be, or loves to talk to her friends on the phone, and they're wondering, how about us? Us, we just need to be. So when you ask those children, by the way, it's a good thing to ask, what is priority for your parent? And they will tell you what they think is priority. And many times, like in the how and when class, I believe, even the courageous parenting class, we ask the children what they say about their parents. So busy parents, neglect and rejection. Neglect can be very mild or it can be in the extreme. So when a child feels neglected or rejected by the main parent source, the mother or the father, then it's abandonment. Okay? This is just running through trauma. When there's domestic violence, it's continuous. Okay? Children are traumatized when parents raise their voices or when something is happening in the home. I went through this healing session with one of my brothers, and I was taking them through it. And I remember the incident when one of my brothers got hurt, and there was blood, and my mother was panicking, and she was speaking, in a sense, crying at the same time as taking care of my brother. And my younger brother, who was present, brought this incident to my attention and said, that was one of the most traumatic things, because when a parent is out of control, either they're angry or emotionally they're grieved, the child is traumatized, So accidents happening in the home or while you're driving or while you're walking, the thing you do is to protect the child. You hide them from seeing it. It's not because you're living in an ideal world, but it's because for you it's an accident, but for them it's the end of the world. Okay? So abuse, and this is any of them, can be physical, emotional, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, and some of them come combined. Abuse physically happens when a parent is out of control and they are disciplining out of control. And many of us, if it's a swish, it keeps going like this. And you cry until the parent has calmed down. It's when they stop. So you never know when they'll come down. And because of that, the child is traumatized. And with it comes words, and with it comes all sorts of things, trauma. The third one is the control, excessive rules and excessive control. What does the child say when they are confined like that? I am not able, I am all alone, I am not loved, I am not capable, I am not important, because they try to speak in between, but it's kind of rules are rules. When there is a dominant parent, authoritarian, then, and if both of them are authoritarian, what happens? The child says, I don't matter, I don't matter, okay? So when a child is wounded in their childhood and gets into the adolescent stage, without God coming and healing them, what will happen? When they become adolescents, teenagers, or these days it starts from about age 11, you see how children get to that age, and they can reason, and then they have a voice. So some children, they don't get into adolescent naturally, easily. They take on a lot of parental responsibilities. When they do that, they become a parent before they remain as children. What happens with those children when they become adults? Some of them have been adults for their siblings for so long, they remain adults. And they want to help their siblings, and they never take care of themselves. This is just a postcard, but I'm sure it's in a particular setting somewhere. These days, our adolescents are into a lot of selfies. Why? Why? Because a lot of adolescents now, life revolves around themselves. It is me, it is me, it is me. But that doesn't stop necessarily when they go to the young adult stage. So, a wounded adolescent, 3 ways they respond: rebellion, perform to gain whatever I'm losing, and as a victim. All these, they erect different masks. It says, oh, I'm accepted, or I don't care whether I'm accepted. So rebellion says, I don't care whether I'm accepted. So nobody would listen to me, I don't care to listen to anybody. They can be defiant, they can be angry, they can be arrogant, they can be loud, but sometimes they're not loud, they are quietly in rebellion. The causes for rebellion is pain, is shame, they have been shamed. And the causes for rebellion can be bitterness and many other examples of rebellion. Okay? Now, the question is, when you look at the childhood stage, do any of you in any way remember your childhood? Was there any wounding in your childhood? You don't have to tell us what it is, but you can you tell us if you experienced pain in your childhood, rejection or abandonment or shame? You know, sometimes when you take a child and you put them on the chair to show everybody else that this is not what you should do, that is shame. Don't shame children. Embarrassment is like a big thing to a child. So, any of you want to say something about childhood? Okay. Yes. You feel like you went through all of them?
Yeah, I experienced all of them.
Yes.
In my childhood, because as the story is told, when I was conceived, my father's Jew refused, and then the drama continues. That is rejection as per se. Yeah.
Yes.
Even after I was born, my mom got a cesarean section for the first time. She had 2 kids before. and then she got an infectious scar. So it was very hard. So when she was brought the child, she was like, I would take this thing away from me. It's the cause of all my problems. Yeah, but yeah, that is rejection. I don't know, our characters are different. So half the time growing up, I was the one on the stool. Ile kiti moto pale. Kuonyeshwa, musifanye kama huyu. She's not a team player. She wants, sometimes I even did not understand what that meant because I was very small.
Yes.
So later in life, it's like, oh, that is what it meant. Yeah, Ati sipendi watu wakishikana. I even did not know what that is. I wonder watu wanashikania nini. But okay, later I'm like, so, you're like, when you're kuzambaratisha, you don't bring things together, something of the sort.
So you are labeled.
Yeah. There was also something that she told me that was very funny. She used to tell me, you're the one who made me have a scar. For a long time, I never even used to know what that is. So I think when I grew up, I'm like, oh, CS remains in a scar, such things.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I think all of them. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
But who is God?
Yeah.
They're just stories now.
They are stories now.
Yeah.
They are stories now, but as a child, they were real, but you didn't understand. But we can understand something, even as adults. You can understand why, but that doesn't heal the wound. Only God heals. Okay? Does anybody else want to share something? And then we'll move on to the next stage.
I think for me it's also all of bitterness and all of them. All of them, yeah. Because from conception to to all that, yes.
Yeah.
So I'd say I experienced, yes, all of them.
Thank you. Yeah. But when we meet together in class, when we are in college together, do the faces show? When you see somebody overtaking you badly, or when you see somebody in your workplace, do the faces show? There is so much brokenness everywhere you turn. Sometimes we want those ones who are not broken because it's easier saying, oh, hata niletea nini. But you look at yourself and say, if somebody discriminated against me because of this, when you realize it, then who will be living in this world of ours? Yes. You wanted to say?
Yeah, I think when I say from conception, I was born. My mom gave birth to me before she got married. Yeah, so I walked a journey of being raised by my grandmother. Those days, unapata mtoto, napelekea grandmother, and then unaenda. Yeah, so that whole period of now being at home and then later joining was not an easy journey. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Even with a very loving grandmother, a child still feels abandoned. And yet, they are the second best choice. Not with somebody who will be cruel to you. Because I know some children who are raised by their sister's family and are not kind. They did everything in the house. All the other children can go out and play, but you're the only one who can't play, working. So there are backgrounds which are hard. It's not to diminish yours, but that's what abandonment. Even with love, there can be abandonment. Because every child is to be raised by their own parents.
Question, is that a subconscious feeling, or is it something you actually do feel as a 0 to 10?
Most times you don't feel it. Most times you don't feel it because you don't understand. Because 0 to 10, you don't reason in that way. The Lord, in a sense, uses your limitations to block away your pain. But later, when you're going through a process or you face something hard, it's when the Lord can bring it back so that He can help you heal. Why are you asking that?
No, I'm asking because, as I said when I was introducing myself, I'm at that place where I'm trying to pick those incidents that then may have in a great way shaped my response to anger and that emotion. And I was raised by my grandma until I was maybe 5 thereabout. And she died when me and her were very tight.
Yes.
So now when you said it's abandonment, I'm like, I've never thought I was abandoned. I was happy.
You're very happy.
Life was good.
Yeah.
So then that's what now I'm wondering, is there a possibility that it may have left an imprint, a trauma imprint that I don't even know about?
Yeah, that's a good question. If there was love and you were not asking, where is my mom? Because some grandmas take the place of moms and they become actually your mom. There are situations like that. I wouldn't load myself with the pain if it's not there. But in some situations, it's there because sometimes there is that mvutano after some time, and where a child keeps asking, where is my mom? Where is my mom? Where is my dad? When they start asking those questions, it's when you want to go back and deal with that pain, because there will be reason why they're asking. Because they'll go to school and somebody will say, na wewe, unakaa na nani? And then it is that story. And you can't give the answer. So you come back home and ask, so what happened? What happened? I know a child who was raised by the grandmother, but the grandmother kept saying, remember, you're like an orphan. The grandmother was preparing this young man for life. But when they go to school age, where they left the grandmother's house, they went and stayed with Uncle A. They went and stayed with Uncle B. They were just wandering between uncles and aunts like this. You're homeless, as it were. How did they feel? And then there was some cruelty in some of those homes. So it's those things when they add up. So if yours was peaceful, you just thank God. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Carol.
Some of these things we are learning as we have become older. Because for me, when I was growing up, I didn't know that I lacked anything, because my dad passed when I was 7. And my mom tried to step in, but I see now some inadequacies she had as a single parent, because we were very young. But for me, someone brought it up that I could have suffered abandonment because my dad I seemed to connect, and we had conversations that even affected after he was gone, some promises he made. But he lives this day, he's admitted. And for me, after a few weeks, he comes back in a hearse. So you see, as a child, and no one counsels you, that's a source of abandonment, because no one told me that it was that bad. And it left me as a child wondering where he went, even as much as you buried him. So I think there are very many versions of this abandonment.
Yes.
And even as much as one parent steps in, I don't know, it's only God who can heal that.
Inside. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, so healing does not always happen in childhood. And so you have a rebellious youth or a rebellious teen. You can also have a teen who is a performer. When they perform, it's like a mask. You know, I need to be loved and accepted. So I'll do it in school, I'll be obedient, Not all performers are wounded people. Not all of them. But there are some who use it for them to feel good about themselves. Not that we should not feel good when we do well, but it's when it's excessive that I can't live without being accepted. I can't live without it. It is a performer when it's not for the good of the other person. It's always because it makes me feel good. Okay, so they are very much into the academics. They are high achievers, even in sports. But there is also a self-righteousness and a looking down on others who may not be as gifted, but who are working just as hard, but they need to feel important. They need to feel important. They are perfectionists. Many times perfectionism is looked upon as something good. And it's good to do things well. But when it becomes an obsession, then you know it's overboard, and it's because it makes the person something. So there is that aspect, a performer adolescent. In childhood, the pain came. This is possibly transitioning to adolescent, taking care of their little brother, okay? They have taken on parental roles. Sometimes it is necessary. When you are in this country, a lot of children became parents when they were younger. But when you go to a country like Rwanda, because of genocide, a lot of the adults now were raised by children or were raised in mass by the one relative who was alive. Okay? And you can see the pain and the hollowness of the society. So, pain comes through. How about a victim? A victim adolescent. This one can be very cold. Not all the descriptions I'm giving are part of one person. It's just a few of them. They can be cold, they're detached, they can be fearful, they can also be unable to say no. It's a child, an adolescent who is withdrawn. Okay? Why? Victims come because their spirits are broken, they are crushed. If a child comes from a place where there is domestic violence, they are out of control. They don't know what will happen tomorrow. Some of them see their parent, one of their parents, bashed to, when in the morning they wake up, they are full of swellings all over. They are cleaning the floors because of bloodshed. That child, that adolescent came from that kind of childhood. They become followers. These ones, they go with the herd. If their friends are rebellious, they become rebellious. And they will prove that they are strong by doing the things that group does. If they join the performers, they become performers, and they will join that group that performs. But when it comes to choices, they are not able to distinguish who they really are. So they will take chemistry, physics, math, because this performer who gives them confidence is doing that, although they are better at biology, chemistry, and something else. Do you see that? So they just follow, they follow. They crave acceptance. This crowd accepts me. They love attention. They come and everybody is cheering, yay, yay, yay. Okay? They want affirmation. So the teacher is affirming, they've joined the performer group, so they will stay there. But you will just notice when they're not able to separate from those who are gifted differently. Okay? A victim adolescent can be manipulative because they really need to be accepted. They will do anything. They will serve in a way so that the other person can accept them. They can have a lot of self-pity. They can present their case like, you know, everybody does this to me. And so they can be manipulative, self-pity. They can lack motivation as well. And the alert part for this, for me, is when I'm looking at children and they lack self-motivation. You have to push them to do their homework. You have to push them to keep tidy. You have to push them to brush their teeth. Look at that child and ask yourself, how is their spirit? How is their spirit? Can be fearful. They can feel helpless. They can also be passive. Everything goes. They will not move. They will not move. They're the ones who will sit and watch TV the whole day, and it's kind of like, that is their world. That's their world. They don't have any motivation. Okay? So that is adolescent stage. When healing doesn't happen, it comes into the young adult stage and the adult stage. But this is what you see in the young adult stage. Same. And sometimes we have a bit of rebellion, a bit of performer, a bit of performer, a bit of victim, or a majority of victim and a bit of rebellion. So there are no clear lines. So we can have a whole mix of these woundedness, these types of woundedness. So a rebellious young adult, they are getting into college, 18, 19, 20, to maybe 24, 25. They can escape their pain through alcohol, through sexual promiscuity. Some of them can be abusive. You wonder, why do they throw insults like that? And some fight. Why? There's a lot of internal wrangle within. And some of them do not obey any authority. They have broken free and they are going. They'll do what they want when they want to do it. And some of these are very intelligent young people, but they won't come to class. They won't come to class on time. They want to skip. If the teacher says that everybody starts at 7 o'clock for their prep time, they come in at 8 o'clock. What can you do? They have got an attitude, okay? A performer young adult, they spend lots of time studying or whatever pursuit they have. They can have deceptive beliefs. You wonder, where did they get that from? How did they get Eastern religion into their system? They research and they think, let me try this, let me try that. And it makes them feel good, makes them above others, they're okay. They can be prone to addiction. You don't expect it because they're doing so well in school. They've got excellent behavior at home, but you don't know there could be an addiction in the background. But they are crushed by failure. Everybody is rejoicing in their class. They passed this particular exam. They got a 92. They are the highest, but they are completely crushed because what were they expecting? They wanted to get a 95 or above and above. So that's a performer young adult. They're in college. You'll notice they're the ones who cry after the results have been given. And not because they're the poorest, but because they want to perform the highest. Performing the highest is not a bad thing, but if it makes you cry when you don't, then you wonder how the expectations are being managed. Who is in control? A victim young adult is a follower. They continue to follow. If they are not healed at the adolescent stage, their identity remains in the circle of friends. Their confidence is gained through acceptance, affirmation, and words that make them feel good, but they remain needy. Emotionally, they can be clingy, and they're also crushed by rejection. Even a hint of it, a hint of rejection. They didn't smile when I gave them this when they are children, but when they become adults, young adults, it is something else. Any questions?
Just a comment. I think we are seeing more and more of this. Like, I think there's an ongoing case in fact of a guy who hacked a lady at Moi University because the lady rejected that guy. if you listen at the court proceedings of that case, is actually that boy will not take rejection at any cost. If you're not with me, you'll be dead.
Yeah.
So I think this is something the masses need to know, because I think we are just bringing up our children with heart and carrying on things in their lives, and we don't attend to them.
Yes.
We end up in such cases.
Yeah. So when they are children and they are completely on the extreme, they are taken to what? Approved schools. They just need healing. God needs to come into their lives so that they are healed, so that that pain, that shame, that degradation they felt as they are growing up is dealt with. And nowadays, there are too many cases in our colleges, as you're saying, where people are being killed because this person was in pain, is rejected all through. Now they say, this is it. You are dead or you are alive for me. Yeah, and you're right. You're right. Yeah. Thanks. So any other comment before I go to the next one? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I just
Mercy.
wanted to add, especially on the, I think something has come to mind. When I was in hospital, okay, let me not say when I was in hospital. When we were doing, or when my husband went to do a review with the school teacher about my older daughter, there's a point where she was not okay in school. So the teacher was asking my husband what happened. She's like, oh, the mother was sick. So there's a time when she was not doing her homework.
Yes.
She was in class and she's just looking.
Yes.
And like for 3 days. Then now they escalated to us. Thankfully that school, they don't beat the children. They bring in the parents. Yeah. So now when I think about it, so I don't know whether I need to help my daughter deal with, because she can see I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Because by evening I don't have energy levels. So I sleep a lot. So usually they come and say, even mommy is just sleeping. Like yesterday, I was so tired. I slept and my youngest came and hugged me and kissed me.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, am I traumatizing them? Because I'm sick. Am I traumatizing them without realizing I am? I guess that's the thing that is running in my mind right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When a parent is unwell, there is uncertainty. It's worse when it is a single parent. The child thinks this is the end of the world. What will happen to me if this one goes? So we need to deal with the pain on a daily, weekly basis if possible. You need to talk to them. So what happened this week? What are you afraid of? And sometimes they'll talk. They'll tell you, I'm afraid to go to school tomorrow because teacher so-and-so. And sometimes it's just that subject. What is the problem with teacher so-and-so? I don't understand this particular aspect of what they're teaching me. Then you say, okay. Then you go and intervene and get help so that they are not petrified. They don't have butterflies in their tummies because they are afraid of something. But when a parent is unwell, it's important to do that. I remember when I was unwell at one point, and I was telling my children, and they're older, and I was saying, I was in Psalm 73, though my heart and my body, they fail, the Lord is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. And then they thought, my Lord, my mother is going to die. You see, I didn't even get it then. I didn't get it. But it's important for them to be comforted in their perceived loss and actual loss. Because if you're not there to play with them and you used to play with them, it's a loss. It's a loss. So there are many things. So who has now, as parents in Nairobi, Kenya, you can say, who has time for such things? Because it's too much. It's too much. But you better create time now and have healthy children in the inside than not make time now. and with so much erupting around us, and all of us commenting, whether it's the economic, the political, those are just on the side. The real deals are right there in their world, because too much is happening in schools and everything. Too much. Okay. Situations where these things are happening, may the Lord help us to be alert. So when we come to the adult stage, now that's you and me, but as we transition into adulthood from age, let's say 24, 25, rebellious adults can be controlling and abusive to their spouses and to their children, okay? They can be domestic violence and can be whichever spouse is violent. Sometimes it's the man and sometimes it's the woman, okay? Marriage failure. Look for those things. Insubordination, it's there. They don't obey rules. They say rules are here to be broken. Yes. When you hear that, you're wondering who is speaking. Why do they think that way? They might be talking out of their pain and they have learned to break rules. Okay? Substance abuse, like alcohol, drugs. We know cases of very intelligent children, very intelligent people who are hygienically they are at the top. Even lunchtime, wherever they are, they always carry a mouthwash. But sometimes it's to cover what abuse in terms of substance they are trying to cover up. They can be contentious and contemptuous because of they are arrogant, because nobody recognizes them, but they recognize themselves. And they want you to know, it doesn't matter what you think, I know who I am. So they are rebellious. We have a lot of these in our leadership cadre in many areas. Whether you're talking about leadership, even in a school situation, sometimes children come and say, teacher so-and-so. You'll find them there as well. They undermine a cause. If it's in a home and all of you are trying to work towards a water project to make the home more comfortable, they don't do their part. Even if their part was to supervise, they would not do their part. Because of their actions, they undermine the success of the rest. A performer adult can be a workaholic. They're always working. They can withdraw from the family and other relationships. They can be emotionally distant. So the spouse never feels quite loved, neither do the children. They do their duty, and most of it is physical things. They'll go for holidays because they know this is what we do, but they don't take care of the other things. They are crushed by failure, they have addiction issues, but they are resistant to change. Even when they learn something, they don't want to change. They can be strong-willed. A performer adult can be self-reliant, be skeptical, very intellectual, they reason things out through, but you see, they also resist the Spirit of God and the power of God because they can't understand everything. Can be cynical, can be apprehensive or perfectionist, and nobody can live with them. Okay, if it's the bookshelf, it has to have the books starting from the tallest to the shortest. And woe to you who is not a perfectionist, because you return the book. You return the book in the wrong place. And everybody in the house will know, the book was put in the wrong place. Okay? A victim adult, they become people pleasers. They are exploited, they are used, even in the workplaces. A project was to be done by Mr. A. They didn't do it because he's a lot passive and everything. So the boss tells Mr. or Miss B to do it because she's always working. But she loves the praise. She loves the praise. Okay? In marriage, a victim can be clingy. So even when there are issues in the marriage, they cannot discuss them with other people to get help because they are afraid, because the spouse gives them an identity. They can be permissive as parents because the children have to be my friends. They don't take the role of a parent. What if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? All right. We are finishing that. Now we'll have questions, examples, and then we will transition to